you are one of the most futuristic people I know. And you're 10 years ahead of everybody.
Okay.
Okay. And so you're really heavy into AI.
Have you explained these other things about me?
Well, I mean, you were one of the first people, like over a decade ago, that told me I think programmers are going to be automated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now programmers are automated.
Yeah.
And that was like just like last week, Zuckerberg gave some talk where he said he's going to somehow eliminate all his mid-level programmers and the AIs.
There's a distinction. I'm not futuristic. I'm a futurist.
Yes, you're a futurist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a thing. Have you ever gone to the futurism there's a conference?
I've not. Yeah.
No, yeah. It's an actual job, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think you'd be good at it. I think you already do it, and you just do it for free.
Okay.
So, I mean, AI, are we doomed? Are we going to be enlightened? Or is it a little of both?
I'm quite excited about AI. And as a disclaimer, I'm an advisor of a couple of AI companies, but that's not why. They're not doing the kind of AI that I'm excited about personally, as far as like future. The stuff that I love about AI right now is, so I have a problem with the way scalar money commerce works. This idea that we represent the formal value of goods and services with a single number called the price or a wage, to me is absurd. It's like taking a JPEG of me and saying, well, I'm just going to average all the pixel colors down and just get this sort of dirty beige. And that really sums up what Dave looks like, just like dirty beige, right? That's not what I look like. That's a complete informational decimation of what I look like, right? But we do this at every transaction. The formal game design of scalar money commerce is make more than you spend. That is the gameplay. It is simpler than rock, paper, scissors. And as long as you make more than you spend and do this long enough, you'll be fine. But the gameplay pacing is dog shit. Like the workarounds for all the holes this leaves being that simple a gameplay mechanic is just our mess of regulation, and it's this invasive kudzu of a gameplay mechanic. It gets into other game systems and it undermines them, right? So I think we can re-implement both commerce and governance using an AI acting as kind of like a dungeon master for our lives to make our lives really creative and serendipitous and fun, while making the countries that the AI not manages really, because you still have autonomy and freedom, but it sort of manages these opportunities for you and presents them in a gamified way. I think AI has a role in gamifying our future, our commerce, our governance, our lives in this really creative, fun, delightful way that we can't even conceive of right now, because we grow up with scalar money commerce and it shapes how we think in the most horrific negative ways. This is what makes me feel most like Dr. Manhattan and kind of like losing sight of where humanity's going, is that I feel like scalar money commerce is the matrix that everybody lives in, and they have not taken the red pill. They're just so thoroughly on that blue pill, and that's just where they are, and they're not coming off it. And any suggestion of it makes you some sort of utopian socialist idiot, right? That's not the case. It's not the case. We've done the game design to show that vector money commerce systems and governance systems work, and they're way more fulfilling. But it's hard to make the case. It's hard to make the case just waving your arms, right? And nobody's willing to shuck the scalar money commerce they've become inured to, right? And so it's hard to find people that can like visualize this outside of game developers.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because this is what game developers do all day, is they create virtual economies.
Exactly.
Even if the game's not an MMO, you have to create the economy of like difficulty, feedback, even if it's visual or tactile in the game.
And typically, like a scalar money commerce inside of the game often undermines the game. So like very often a glorious RPG like Skyrim or Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that turns into, well, I've got to pick up all this useless shit that I don't want to use, and then worry about my equipment capacity so that I can sell it at the store and make the that becomes the gameplay mechanic, is like optimizing your profit.
But there's whole games that are that now. Like, have you seen Backpack Hero? There's games where like
that's actually brilliant.
Yeah, like it's actually a good game. So they've made an entire game out of organizing your inventory and determining what you want to take and what you want to leave.
Yes.
So I don't know.
But that's the whole game.
That is the whole game.
So you're not competing with it. But I'm talking about the game of like, it's not even inventory fitting. It's like just encumbrance. Like it's just a number, and you're trying to like keep it under the carry weight limit, right? That's how most of them work, outside of Backpack Hero and Diablo and stuff like that. But to me, it's so infuriating to see what scalar money commerce has done to the planet. It's done to our relationships. It's done to our companies, our governments, our relationships. It's infuriating, and that's part of why I don't like to talk about money, because I feel like Trump won, and Trump is money, and I don't want to give Trump airtime. I don't want to give money airtime. I'm angry at it.
It's also a boring topic. Like, I kind of feel like
it can become very addictive.
Right, but I know I know people who were like, I know creative people who've become quite successful, and then sometimes they stop talking about fun, interesting topics, and they just want to talk about money.
Exactly.
Or the, what happens when you get money, and it's like, what happened to all the fun, cool ideas you had, leading up to this point? It's like it's just. Yeah, it's kind of money makes people very uninteresting.
It can. It really can. And I think it amplifies people, right? Because now nobody's telling you no, right? You can't do that. So, it brings out whatever it is you want to do with it. And a lot of people want to do things that amplify the basest parts of their personality.
This is where
I thought that money corrupted me when I was making a lot of it.
Yeah,
I was not happy with who I became, and I've seen it happen to you, and I have both seen it happen to several friends who were one way when we met them, and they were of modest means, and then they became a very different way when they were very successful.
Yeah, I kind of feel like in an extreme example, you can see scalar money breaks at the high end of the scale, because essentially, Elon bought the United States government for about as much as it cost to make Gladiator 2. It wasn't even that much money.
Yeah.
But when you have that much money and you're completely independent, like, you could get something really bad could happen to you and you still have a lot of money.
Yeah.
The system is not designed to withstand the influence of somebody with that much money.
Yeah, because
it kind of works on the low end. Like, people are motivated, they go to work to do whatever.
When money was invented 6,000 years ago,
nobody had that much of it.
It was actually pretty clever fucking design.
Yeah.
It just did not weather the information age very well.
But do you think a lot of game designers have a sort of utopian view of how this works? Because I kind of feel like this sounds like it makes sense in the context of a game where you've built the entire reality. But when these types of concepts have to interact with the real people in real situations, or a wildfire that takes out, Altadena or what have you, it's the real world, the meat space world isn't as easily quantifiable as we would like.
It's not, but that's part of why we shouldn't quantify every transaction with a single fucking number, right? Like, that is the lossiest codec of all mankind, and it is at the heart of our system of commerce.
So there's a way to, I guess, keep people sort of motivated by capitalism, which, kind of works on our little lizard brain, but making it work in a better way, because the outcomes can have multiple. You can have multiple positive outcomes instead of just one.
Oh, I mean, so much.
And the government applying tax policy or whatever is almost like patches. Like, you're fixing the symptom. Like, in programming, sometimes you're fixing the symptom. You're like, I don't know why this pixel's dark, but we could just turn it light every frame instead of figuring out why that pixel's being turned dark.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, like, a lot of the laws and tax policies and stuff are just patches, and they're not fixing the actual problem that generates, like, the inequality and the end results that aren't great.
The underlying problem.
Yeah.
And they don't. And once you grow up with it, once you've lived it, you know, it dominates every aspect of your life. It dominates your childhood. Oh, when can I have an allowance? My allowance isn't enough. And then you're in high school and you need to get a job if you want to buy cool PlayStation shit. And
Yeah.
college is really preparing for getting a career, which is all about money. And so which degree do you get for the right amount of money? And then, you know, courting people, it's like, are you making enough money to date someone? Are you, are you going to attract the right kind of woman if you're not making enough or whatever? And it just dominates and undermines everything. And there's ways to do it. There's ways we don't even know that we're already doing it that are superior to the way it's done right now. They just don't scale. And so now we finally have the tech with the help of AI and with the help of shit tons of cameras. With simple commodity fucking tech for Wi-Fi and stuff, that we can actually completely re-implement commerce and governance. We'll include a link to my Vector Money talk if people want to learn about this. But it's all completely, there's no sci-fi required anymore to completely fucking fix this. But something we're used to as game developers is that when something doesn't work, when an engine has hit its end of life, we just like, fuck it, we're going to rewrite this from scratch. And we're very used to that in the game development culture. But with commerce, no one's used to that. They're not ready to like say, oh, fuck it, this broke. You know, this is responsible for the Anthropocene extinction and like everything that's going wrong. In addition to what's going right, but it's also, you know, what's going wrong. And we're literally risking our own extinction and still unwilling to make a radical engine level change. And a lot of people ask me, oh, so, you know, is this is this how like Bitcoin can save us? You're like, no, it's another fucking scalar. That's another fucking scalar money, right? Like, it's not going to help get us out of this. Is if you're not representing the liabilities and benefits of goods and services with many fucking numbers, huge. We would do it in games with a big struct. But the formal name of a struct is really a heterogeneous vector, right? If we're not, if we're not tracking that state, that value, that liability with a lot more than just a single number, then you can't fix a problem that you're not even measuring.